The Steelers are getting comfortable with Mason Rudolph. Good kid, been there before, but in his career, 28 touchdowns, 20 picks, not real mobile. Wow. This is a very insular franchise that did not go out of the building when they looked for a GM. So it's the same old ideas and the same old insular thinking. 4 straight year, they'll spend the most money on defense. 4 straight year, they will be, near the bottom of offense. So that's who they are. Mike Tomlin seems to be, okay with Mason Rudolph if he's the guy.
That's why we brought him back. I'm comfortable with that, man. We've been there before. He's a very capable guy. Mason's not a kid, man. He's been around. He's been in multiple systems and situations, and so I don't expect that to be a significant hurdle. He's a good football guy. He's a good teammate, and that's one of the, informal responsibilities of the job, if you will, to connect with your teammates and lead in a lot of instances, and all of that is a really comfortable, natural act for him.
Again, he is a substantially predictable and dependable backup in a division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and in a conference with Josh Allen and Mahomes and Herbert and C.J. Stroud, and you get the point. It's just the time of the year right now is the time that everybody, all NFL fan bases, are embracing hope, and the Steelers are embracing Mason Rudolph. And this goes back to what I've said about defensive coaches. They have no urgency on fixing the O-line or quarterbacks. So the Steelers need to adjust for quarterback inflation. The price has gone up to be great at quarterback. And I've said it before, even if Aaron Rodgers chooses them, I'll give them one more win. I don't like the O-line. I think they have 2 receivers that'll want the ball. They lost their best back. And it's funny, when you think about offense in the NFL, close your eyes, and you can think about the Niners and Rams, and you can think about, you see creative, and you think Kansas City, close your eyes, and you see innovation, and you see Philadelphia, close your eyes offense, and you think physicality, tush push, run game. You close your eyes on the Steelers offense, there's nothing there.
Yeah. I want to take this in a couple different directions, because I made a Steelers video criticizing Mike Tomlin and, the quarterback position and even defense, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of Steelers fans were like, well, it's not Mike Tomlin. It's not Mike Tomlin. It's ownership, it's GM. He's not responsible for that. My argument is he's the head coach. He has a tremendous amount of control over those situations. Mike Tomlin's not some neutered head coach who doesn't have control over these types of situations or any type of influence. But there's a lot of Steelers fans that believe that to not be the case, that they see him more as, at the mercy of who the Steelers want to draft, who they want to pay, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas we look at some of these other coaches and these other teams, and we say, like, no, this coach, if Sean McVay wants to run it back with Matthew Stafford, then the Rams are running it back with Matthew Stafford. If the Rams, if Sean McVay wants to move on from Stafford, right? He wanted to move on from Jared Goff, like that's Sean McVay. And the Steelers are making the argument, Steelers fans, I should say, are making the argument that that's not the situation that Mike Tomlin is in. And I personally disagree with that, but it is interesting, because we'll talk about other teams that have meddling owners or whatever, or egotistical GMs that make the wrong decisions necessarily. And it is a thought-provoking question here, in terms of the collaborative relationship between the coaching staff and the GM and, ownership. And, some coaches demand that they have a lot. Like Andy Reid went to the Chiefs and is like, I have control over this. Like, I have control over personnel. Like, I am massively responsible. Now, he works, very closely, with his GM. But there was still a large degree of power that someone like Andy Reid has, that Sean McVay has, that Shanahan has, that, we can go down the list of all these, Sean Payton has, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you want to put Mike Tomlin in a different category of not having that, I find that interesting. And I'd love to know what you're actually basing that off of, quite frankly, because Mike Tomlin himself has even said multiple times, like, this is my decision to do this, my decision to do that. It starts with me, it stops with me, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe that's just coach speak. Maybe that's just PR, but I do find that interesting. I do find that interesting. But this whole idea, right? Like, you're comfortable with Mason Rudolph. Like, I've been making a bunch of videos, and I've been talking about the Raiders, the Patriots. I'm thinking of other, like, odd teams, like, not the main, blue bloods, like the Bills, the Ravens, Eagles, etc. And I'm like thinking to myself, there's so much optimism around these teams. I made a video around this time last year, I guess a little bit after the draft, after Drake May was drafted. And I remember making a video for the Patriots, and I was just kind of like, I'm sorry to say this, but, like, the Patriots are not going to be good this coming season. I was like, I know it's a bummer. I know nobody wants to hear that. And it is. It's a bummer. You're all excited. You're ready for the next season, and you want to get going. And it's like, it's a hard pill to swallow to just be like, your team's not going to be good before you even start. And there's not really going to be much to root for. And the fans, and I understandably so, gave a lot of pushback. They were like, no, we're going to be so much better than you think, et cetera, et cetera. And, like, they obviously ended up not being, so much better than I thought. And now fast forward to now, I'm making a video and I'm like, this is great. The Patriots are making moves. Like, there's a lot of optimism. I think they can contend for a playoff spot. Drake May is going to take a step forward. You got Mike Vrabel, Diggs, and you're going to have the draft, et cetera, et cetera. You got a bunch of defensive players in the, during free agency, some Super Bowl winners in there. Like, that's, awesome. And I said, there's optimism, like this, there's excitement, real optimism. And same thing even with the Raiders. It's like, all right, you got Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Geno Smith. You got new head coach, new essentially offensive head coach from that viewpoint. You got a new quarterback. Like, you're making moves. Even the Broncos, right? Like, even though they already are kind of in a positive bubble since they went to the playoffs last year, like, made moves in free agency. Bo Nix is going, should be taking a step forward. Again, just a lot of positives, free agency moves that you could really be like, all right, let's go. Next year, we got a fighting chance to really do some damage. And then you compare it to the Steelers. And you're just like, all right, you got DK Metcalf, but Mason Rudolph is going to maybe be your quarterback? And where are the big upgrades? Where's the optimism coming from? And in a vacuum, I could see Aaron Rodgers actually having some success with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what I'm starting to lose faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers is their ability to actually be organized and get the job done when it matters. And play high-level football consistently. Because this all just feels so disorganized to me. It all feels so disorganized and disconnected to me. And I can't get optimistic around that. I just can't. It's the same reason why I'm not 100% super high. I'm not low on the Philadelphia Eagles, but I can't just automatically say, oh yeah, they're the defending champs, so they better be number one. I'm like, I don't know how good this offensive coordinator is going to be. I got to wait and see. I have no idea. And I'm not going to just make up a conclusion just for a take or just so I could, win over Eagles fans and say, oh no, they're so great, they're stacked. It doesn't matter who the OC is going to be. They're going to be able to do this and that. And it's like, I got no idea. I got zero idea. None. And so when we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's like, where can the confidence come from that they're taking a step forward? Where's the confidence? And where's the optimism? I mean, I don't know. Even if we knew Aaron Rodgers was going to be the quarterback. I think there would be some intrigue there, but I don't know if you could confidently say the Steelers are going to be a better team. They're going to fight for the division. They can win the Super Bowl, etc. Like I don't see where you could even remotely get to that. And then at the very least, if they were going to make some legitimate moves at the quarterback position, you could see what they are building. You could see what they're looking to do. Even if it was something as simple as going out and getting Sam Darnold, or there was like a legitimate belief that they're going to move up in the draft and draft a quarterback, like you could, again, at least see what they're looking to do. Let's say Mason Rudolph ends up being the actual starting quarterback, where the Aaron Rodgers just never goes to the Steelers. What's the plan? If we were looking at the Steelers on just a 3-year plan, what's the plan? What are you looking to accomplish at this point? What do you believe you're going to be able to do with Mason Rudolph in 2025? And then when you ultimately come up short, what are you going to do in 2026? Are you going to keep the same offensive coordinator? Are you going to try to draft like a quarterback? Like what are you looking to do? What are you looking to do? And so it is a mess. And it is frustrating to see. And yeah, if you think you're going to be, making your way through the playoffs, beating Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, etc., with Mason Rudolph as your quarterback, unless you have an elite offensive coordinator and an elite defense that's like truly special, like top 1, top 2 defense that's just suffocating, I don't see it. I don't see that happening. And the defense has been, not elite, has not been special for years. And in the years that it has been pretty good, they don't look so good in important games, in important moments. And then at that, like when we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs having an awesome defense, when they need it most, they step up. Spags dials up the perfect blitz to disrupt Josh Allen. They slow down Lamar Jackson and hold them to 10 points, etc., etc. So it's more than just a bottom line number, more than just a top 3 list on PFF or something. It also matters like what you're doing in that moment. How are you disrupting the other team when it matters most, which is not something that we've seen the Steelers do in quite some time, even on the defensive side of the ball. So when you just put this all together, you just get a messy picture. And when you have this messy picture, no direction, no quarterback, and no feeling that the plan is that they're just going to do X, Y, and Z, and then they're going to draft a quarterback next year. They're predicted to only win X amount of games, and so they'll have a top 5, top 6 draft pick. They're going to be able to get their quarterback. Like there's no feeling of that at all. And we're dancing back and forth between Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. Like I know there was some conversations that people said, oh, there's no deadline for Aaron Rodgers, because of this and that and after the draft. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. If you're a serious team and you're ready to win and you're ready to make moves, you want Aaron Rodgers, you get this done. You just get this done. You get the clarity and you get to have them already kind of having the right conversations with each other. Aaron Rodgers having the conversations, offensive staff start having the conversation. You get the ball rolling. You obviously can't like practice in the traditional sense, but there's still plenty that you can do. Plenty you can do, even if it's just all mental preparation. Zoom meetings, telephones, texting, whatever it is. It's something. Guarantee you, Caleb has been talking to Ben Johnson like every single day. Every single day. Like all of that stuff matters. and I don't care that Aaron Rodgers has been in the league for a million years, and of course he can just, step in day one. And it's like, well, the Steelers don't have that luxury. They haven't been good enough. They haven't been connected enough. So this is where you got to start to be firm in your own direction, in the way how you run your team. It's very much you either do it or you don't. You either walk the path or you don't. Either way, get on with it. But the Steelers keep not knowing where they want to go, which is why they were like, maybe we'll start Kenny Pickett, maybe Mitch Trubisky, maybe Mason Rudolph, maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Russell Wilson, maybe Justin Fields. They think about it. It's just all these maybes. How about this? And then that's the year that you get. Those are the seasons that you get. You get a That's what the Steelers have been. And it's not a surprise at all. And now when it's time to kind of turn that page, you're essentially back exactly where you were last year, except messier. So, I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Tomlin's comfortable with Mason Rudolph. Are you comfortable with Mason Rudolph? And at this point, do you have any optimism and hope for the Pittsburgh Steelers? What do you actually really believe they'll be able to achieve this coming season? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.